Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Happy equinox to everybody. Libra season is about to start. We're going to have a season change. We're going to have fall in northern hemisphere and spring in southern hemisphere. Love, relationship and finances are going to dominate the rest of the year because Venus, the planet which rules all of them, is about to go retrograde on 5th of October. Today we're going to talk about Venus retrograde. How does a Venus retrograde works? What are the do's and the don'ts of it? Which are the specific dates when Venus will be making aspects to other planets, and hence what will be the effect on us in the coming months? And then individually for each sign, which area of your life would get impacted by Venus retrograde. We are going to do the monthly videos as well, but I wanted to take this a separate video out for Venus retrograde because it is such a long drawn phenomena. It affects you beyond the month of October. And if I did this in the month of October videos, that's all we would be talking about. So use that as a blueprint for your October horoscope as well as for the months going forward. So Venus is going retrograde from 5th of October to 16th November 2018 to be exact. But themes of Venus would dominate our psyche from September to December because retrograde happens in waves. There is a forward wave, there is a backward wave, and then a forward wave again, covering the same degrees in our horoscope 3 times. Because of that, the Venus forward motion on the degrees it will be going backward on during the retrograde period started on 3rd of September. We are in the middle of the forward movement of Venus. Venus is in Scorpio right now, and it will continue to be in Scorpio for the rest of September. Then the month of October, whole month of October, Venus is in Scorpio. Then back again in December, when Venus is moving forward, you have it back in Scorpio. Only in the month of November, Venus will be in Libra. So this whole journey of Venus of the next couple of months will be done in all-consuming sign of Scorpio. So you know that it's going to be death, rebirth, because that's what Scorpio does. There's going to be regeneration in the areas dominated by Venus, which is love, relationship, finances, creativity. On 26th of October, which is a key turning point, Venus will meet Sun in an inferior conjunction. Venus will meet Sun and it will die from its previous cycle and be reborn in a new format. Venus is currently an evening star. It's the typical, the known Greek Aphrodite that you and I know about, which is receptive, loving, pleasing, sensual, everything that Venus represents. In modern day, evening star Venus is to some extent considered a doormat Venus as well, because it's not a fighting Venus, it's a accepting, receiving Venus. But once it meets Sun on 26th of October, that version of it will be dead. A new version will be reborn. That is called the morning star Venus. That is supposed to be passionate, wild, courageous, powerful, free will, a bit wild Venus, which is called a morning star Venus. So along with that will transform our approach to the themes dominated by Venus, which is love, beauty, intimacy, fame, money, resources. How do we go after them or not? This is all about creating more will, more power within ourselves to go after these themes. But for that, we'll have to go through a transformation process. I know that word has been used n number of times this year, but this is a very Scorpionic year. Jupiter is in Scorpio as well, and now you're going to have an extended ride in Venus in the sign of Scorpio. So transformation is going to be happening whether you like it or not, and this is the last step of it because Jupiter will be moving out of Scorpio as well in November. So a new cycle will start after the end of this year. Venus vibrates in 5th harmonic with Earth. It invokes creativity and heart responses from us. So it goes deep into all that makes us feel good and loved. As we stand today, Venus is in Scorpio. It will go direct only in the month of November. It will traverse the degrees from 25 degree of Libra to 11 degree Scorpio 3 times. This is re-evaluation cycle of who or what you love. and value and what you don't. What balance of give and take exists in your relationships and what doesn't. How much are you valuing your creative pursuits, or is it getting lost in day to day? How much are you valuing your own beauty inside out? Does your external beauty reflect your inner self? Does your self image need a makeover? So it's a sensory fest marked with intensity of Scorpio, all or nothing, full regeneration, resolving though in November when it goes direct, it's going direct in the sign of Libra, the harmonious, the let's look at both the sides and analyze it objectively sign of Libra. But before we get to November, we'll have to go through this deep dive of Scorpio. And that's what I'm going to explain to you. The full regeneration, which will resolve in harmony of Libra. The end result is it will get you closer to the people, lovers, environment, style, arts, financial prospects that make you feel loved and valued. This is a long drawn journey, but it will connect us more deeply with what we truly love and heal. It's regeneration of our heart chakra. It will serve as a launch pad, a catalyst for you to make significant changes in life, because most of the changes that we make in our life are driven by feelings. And that is what we're going to be working on. Who is impacted the most? Venus rule sign, of course. So Taurus and Libra would be impacted the most, along with Scorpio, where large part of this is happening. But Venus is a visible planet. It comes closest to Earth than any other planet can come during its retrograde cycle. So all of us will physically and psychologically feel it. We are already feeling it because Venus is in Scorpio right now. And on 21st of September, it is brightest in the sky. You can see it up in the western sky. It will be the brightest at its maximum illumination on 21st of September in the night sky. When a planet is supposed to be at its brightest, it is supposed to be the most effective. Its effect is supposed to be felt the strongest. So you are already feeling Venus and Scorpio the most. You're already seeing excess coming back. You're already seeing old situations coming back for resolution. You're already seeing themes of finances dominating you. You're already seeing yourself coming closer to the creative projects that were left behind, and they're suddenly coming back into your consciousness. Those are the themes I'll talk about in detail when we go by phases and dates on what do you expect should be coming through your consciousness during this time. Coming back to who would be impacted the most, apart from Taurus, Libra, and Scorpio, if you have any planets in initial degrees of Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, you will feel an exaggerated sensitivity and feelings of hurt, unappreciated, unloved, lack of cooperation, relationship issues during October. But you'll get the maximum benefit out of it also. Because when Venus opposes and squares our planet, Venus is all about love. And when it conflicts with our planets in a square or an opposition, the early degrees of Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio might feel conflicts coming through, might feel that you are not being appreciated as much as you should. If you're born between 21st to 31st of month of Jan, April, and July, you might feel it harshly. But at the same time, if you'll get the maximum rewards out of it. If you're born in early degrees of Capricorn, Pisces, Virgo, and Cancer, so if you're born between 21st to 31st of December, Feb, June, or August, you'll feel a softer aspect of Venus retrograde. You'll feel it, but it will be a softer, even exhilarating experience, because Venus is a benefic planet. It's there to create more love and value in our life. So you'll see that going through 3 times it's touching your personal planet, it can feel great. Similarly, if you have any planets in the last degrees of Sagittarius, Aquarius, Leo, and Gemini, you'll feel the beneficial aspect of that coming through in November as well. The easiest way to figure out how it would feel for yourself is to use your hindsight. Venus goes through the exact same degrees, similar degrees, every 8 years because of its synodic cycle with Earth. regress by maybe 2 or 3 degrees of change. There's a 2 to 3 degrees of change from its previous path that it followed from September 2010 to December 2010 versus now September to December 2018. So look back at your emails, your notes. I highly, highly recommend it. All the people that I deal with and I've spoken to about their horoscopes, looking back at 2010 September to December has been the most effective exercise for them, because you see the themes, similar themes already coming through your consciousness. You already see old relationships coming back to life, creative projects that were left in 2010 coming back to life, exes coming back to life, people you thought who you had left behind, friendships that you thought the issues in the friendships that were resolved in 2010. Again, inkling of that already is showing up in September. And the objective of using this hindsight is to incorporate the lessons of 2010 in the current cycle, because Venus regresses by 2 to 3 degree into the previous sign every 8 years, because it expects that our growth cycle is progressing. So it expects us to incorporate the lessons from the previous retrograde cycle into this one. And we want to move forward as well and create something new. Difference this time is how Venus is interacting with the other planets in this cycle. There is no Jupiter square this time. Jupiter is not a participant in the current Venus retrograde. It was in 2010. In my view, Jupiter getting substituted. Saturn is a participant in the 2018 cycle. Saturn was not a participant in 2010. In my view, that is a good thing. Because Jupiter, when it is participant, yes, it expands that area, it makes you feel great about it, the ending is over the top. But when Saturn is involved and making a positive aspect to Venus during the retrograde cycle, it creates something solid and long-term growth for you. I feel that is much more valuable than having Jupiter. And Jupiter has already illuminated and expanded this part of your horoscope in 2017, because Jupiter is in Scorpio as well. But it has already covered these degrees from 17th of September to 30th November 2017. So you can look back between 17th of September to 30th November 2017, what area of your life was growing, what area of your life you felt expansion or the need for expansion in. That is the area of your life which is in focus right now for Venus retrograde. Mars has been repeatedly squaring those degrees, so you have been feeling the urge for excitement, even conflicts in this area, and they will become much more tangible in the coming month for you. Uranus has been opposing these degrees, so the need for excitement and setting free is very high during this cycle. You're looking to disassociate from a previous cycle and move into a new one where you have more freedom, especially more financial freedom. And that's why Uranus is involved in the cycle. Nodes are very much invoked as well. South node and north node are making a square to Venus during this cycle. So this cycle will feel very much karmic, destined. Sudden events will come in our consciousness which will put us in a completely different path, which will be for long term because of Saturn, and they will have an element of excitement, newness because Uranus being involved in it, and it will not come with its share of conflict and pressure because Mars is involved in it. But at the same time, when it resolves in November, Mars is making a positive aspect to Venus, so you'll be pushing forward in constructive action in November. The conflict and the push and the pull and the revisions that you'll feel in October will release into a very long-term action and a consistent movement forward from the time that Venus will be reborn on 26th of October. But look back to 2010, it will help you incorporate the lessons. Since we are going to have such a long drawn effect of Venus, it's good to understand what Venus in Scorpio feels like. I live Venus in Scorpio because not because of the sign, but because I have my Venus in 8th house. So I love scorpionic things. So I hope I'm able to convey how Venus in Scorpio feels like. It's important to understand your natal nature of Venus. look at the sign of your Venus, because that defines of course, your external style. How do you dress up is defined by the sign of your Venus. Then which house your horoscope it is in, that defines what do you really love, what do you expect in love, how do you go after love. That is all defined by the nature of your Venus. So I think it's a very important planet for you to natally see. I'm happy to look at it for you. You can leave your details in the comments and I can tell you the sign and the house of your Venus. I think it's fairly exciting to figure out, to know ourselves more, and that's what astrology is all about, right? So Scorpio Venus will be experienced in September. You're already in the middle of it. Scorpio Venus does not take any pretense. It does not care for the superficial beauty. It wants to go deep in your soul and bear it open. Because the end objective is to empower you. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. So it believes in action, it believes in authenticity, it believes in power. It wants to empower you by just being you. So there is no pretense in relationships anymore. When there is no pretense, no gloss over, all the ugliness will come out. Because that's what Scorpio is trying to do. It's not scared of facing its own demons or the demons in the relationship. It's not scared of letting go as well. Because it's all or nothing sign. Either I jump fully in or I let you go. As long as there is deep truth and authenticity and real relationship and real passion in our relationships. So we'll talk of the difficult topics that we actually don't talk about in any other season. So you're already seeing that in the news. Sexual issues, sexual abuse issues coming out, intimacy issues, sexual passion issues coming out, power control issues coming out, addiction issues coming out, hidden aspects in the relationship, the mask that we wear in our day to day life, in our relationship, that coming out, and people saying truly what they think. You are already seeing all of that because Scorpio Venus is live right now and fairly strong, because on 21st of September Venus is shining bright in the sky, and when its illumination is at the maximum, the planet is very, very fully in its element at that time. It's all or nothing, it's pleasure with pain, it's death regeneration, it's soulful, it's power, it's focus, it's ambition, it's control, it's sex, it's intrusion, it's invasion, it's determination, it's being selfish to live authentically at all cost. There is no place for the weak, there is no place for the superficial during a Venus Scorpio transit. It's very much a warrior Venus, and Venus in retrograde is already considered at war. Venus was defined by Mayans and Aztecs or Mesoamericans as goddess of war. They scheduled their battlefields, their battles were arranged around Venus retrograde, as that was considered the time when we bear each other's soul open. It's war. This is the time Venus is reborn from being an evening star to the go-getter morning star. It used to be said that we see the feminine Venus undergo a pseudo-sex change to male version. That was the old reality when males were the only one who could be go-getters. But it was considered the empowered version of Venus coming out after it has gone through a very grisly and fighting process. The rebirth is a little bit exaggerated because of Scorpio dominance in it, which believes in destroying it all to regenerate like a phoenix. That's what we are working with as 26th October approaches. Of course, Venus in Scorpio at war in October will not feel easy. I'm not going to say it's going to feel easy. It's not its natural self. Unless you're a Venus in Scorpio and you've got a Venus retrograde in your horoscope, then it might feel exhilarating to you. For the rest of us, it will not feel easy. It's not its natural self. But I'm not going to go ahead and use what's called in astrology. In astrology, Venus in Scorpio is considered at its detriment, at its lowest level, which is not how I feel about it. Because I feel this is a powerful Venus. This is a Venus which is empowered. This is a Venus which needs truth. And that needs to come out before we reconcile and gloss it over and starts becoming friends again with everybody. Being bare and open and bearing our soul is very important before that, to have the right kind of relationships in our life. It depends on us on how we handle death, rebirth ourselves. As a Scorpio rising myself, that rebirth, regeneration is part of my existence. But yes, maybe if you are a Taurus or a Libra, it will feel very differently. But the resolution of it all, the saving grace is the resolution of it all in November is in Libra. So we should find an amicable, balanced solution, but we will retain the Scorpio power, which is very much needed. Any topics where we are sitting on the fence, Scorpio has to take a specific action. It wants us to get off the fence and make up our mind about something that we are sitting on fence with, which is itching ourselves because Uranus is opposing it and saying, I want to be free of this job, I want to be free of this relationship, I want to be free of this place, this creative aspect I'm not pursuing. It wants us to get off the fence and do it. Venus is a satellite of Sun. It's more than a small star that shines in the sky because it is a sensory, it's our creative intelligence. It's a sensory detector of Sun. It sifts and looks for what we love, what tastes good, what looks good, what we value in terms of people, lovers, places, environment, style, art, fashion. How do you want to dress up? How do I want to earn money? Who I want to love? Which place I want to live? What do I love and value? Venus defines all of that, accumulates this creative intelligence, puts it into our planets which take the action, which is Mars, and guides our mental process, the Mercury, and our physical being, Sun. Venus is moving ahead of Mercury, our intelligence, and our physical being right now. It's gathering all of that. So you see yourself sifting, looking through things, figuring out, and events happening and people coming in your existence which are letting you realize who you love and what you don't. This will specifically play out in your relationships, but creativity, style, and finances will experience all of that as well.